In neighborhoods like McLean, North Arlington, Falls Church City, and Old Town Alexandria, strategic underpricing is often part of the marketing plan. That means that a winning bid that's $100,000 over asking price might actually be a bargain. Meanwhile, a buyer paying full price in another neighborhood could be making a massive mistake. And that is because asking price and market value are not the same thing. After more than 20 years helping buyers throughout Northern Virginia, I've learned that most people who overpay don't realize they're doing it when they're writing the offer. In fact, many of these buyers feel completely confident. They're excited. They're convinced they found the perfect house, and they're sure that they'll never find another one. And that's exactly when mistakes happen. So today, I'm going to show you the 5 warning signs that you're about to overpay before the Northern Virginia prestige premium, bidding war psychology, and emotional decision-making cloud your judgment. And whether you're buying a $950,000 home in Fairfax, a $1.2 million home in Vienna, or a $1.8 million home in McLean, the same patterns appear again and again. I'm Brian Block. I've been helping buyers and sellers throughout Northern Virginia since 2002, and I've served as a managing broker for more than 15 years. Before I entered real estate, I practiced law, and one lesson carries over from legal negotiations to real estate negotiations. People often make decisions emotionally and then justify them intellectually afterwards. That doesn't mean emotions are bad. Buying a home is personal, but your emotions need to inform the decision, not control it. Once the excitement fades, you're still left with the mortgage payment, the commute, the maintenance, layout, the neighborhood, and the resale value. So let's begin with the question that causes a surprising amount of confusion. A lot of buyers assume that paying above the asking price automatically means that they overpaid, but that is simply not true. Let's imagine a home in North Arlington that's listed at $950,000. It receives multiple offers and sells for $1,025,000. Did that buyer overpay? Perhaps, perhaps not. If nearby homes with similar square footage, condition, lot size, school access, and location have recently sold between $1 million and $1.05 million, the final price might be completely reasonable. The listing price may have been designed by the sellers and their agent to attract attention, increase showing traffic, and generate competition. Now, imagine a different house is listed at $1.05 million, and it's been sitting for several weeks. The buyer negotiates the seller down to $1 million and feels great because they purchased the home below the asking price. But what if in this case, comparable sales supported a value closer to $950,000? That buyer negotiated a discount and still overpaid. The asking price is marketing. Market value is evidence. When you're preparing an offer, the real questions to ask are, what have similar homes actually sold for? How recently did they sell? How does the condition compare? How does the location compare? How limited is the inventory on the market? How many realistic alternatives exist? And most importantly, what is this particular house worth to you? A buyer with 3 children may place a premium on a flat backyard, an extra bedroom, and a short commute. A downsizing buyer may care more about first floor living, walkability, and the proximity to Metro. A buyer moving here from New York may perceive value differently than a buyer moving from Burke or Springfield. The goal is not to pay the lowest possible price. The goal is to avoid paying a price that only makes sense while you're emotionally activated. So one of the most dangerous moments in a home search is when buyers stop shopping and start obsessing. First, the search feels rational. You're comparing neighborhoods, you're evaluating commutes, you're discussing condition, you're balancing location, space, and price. Then one house appears. Maybe you've already lost 2 offers. Maybe you've spent 6 Saturdays driving all around Northern Virginia. And maybe you have a lease ending soon. Perhaps the spring or summer market feels competitive, and suddenly the language changes. This is perfect. This checks every box. We can't lose this. There won't be another one. The problem isn't that you love the house. The problem is that you stop seeing it clearly. You overlook the road noise. You minimize the small backyard. You convince yourself that the dated bathrooms don't really matter. You start treating legitimate concerns as minor annoyances because you don't want anything to interfere with the story you've created in your mind. Relocation buyers often feel this pressure intensely. They're moving from another state. They may only have one weekend to tour homes. I've worked with these buyers many times, and sometimes they may not even understand the differences between Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, McLean, Vienna, Fairfax, Burke, Springfield, and Reston before they get here. So when the first appealing home appears, it can sometimes feel safer to lock it down than to keep exploring. But urgency can create tunnel vision. So before increasing your offer, ask yourself, would this house still feel irreplaceable if I knew another strong option would appear within 30 or 60 days? If the answer is no, you're not necessarily looking at your only opportunity. Picture a buyer looking for a detached home in Fairfax County. They've already lost out on 2 offers and they're tired of restarting the process. So a house appears that works well enough, not perfectly, but well enough. So their internal conversation shifts from, is this the right house, to, we can't start over again. That's not a market analysis. That's exhaustion. And exhaustion can become expensive. This is one of the easiest traps to fall into. The house hasn't changed and the location has not changed. Neither has the commute changed and the school boundary hasn't changed. And then your agent calls and says, there are 6 offers. Suddenly that house feels more valuable. Why? Because other people want it. Human beings are wired to respond to competition. Scarcity creates urgency, and urgency creates emotional pressure, and emotional pressure can push otherwise rational buyers into irrational decisions. An escalation clause can be useful in your contract, in your offer. It may allow you to remain competitive without immediately offering your absolute maximum. But an escalation clause does not replace good judgment. The most important number is not the starting offer. It isn't even the escalation increment. The most important number is your ceiling. And your ceiling should be determined before the adrenaline kicks in. If your maximum only feels acceptable because you're worried about losing, you may already be too high. The question is, will we still feel good about doing it after the competition disappears? Because after closing, the other bidders disappear. They don't help with your mortgage. They don't help with your renovation. They don't help when the HVAC system needs replacement. The regret curve begins with excitement. You got the house. You won. The adrenaline is high. Then the inspection and the appraisal arrive. Now the questions start. Did we stretch too far? What will the inspection uncover? What if the appraisal comes in low? Then you reach closing. The paperwork is signed. The house is yours. The movers are scheduled. At this stage, buyers often start justifying the decision. We'll make it work. We can renovate later. The neighborhood is worth it. The market will catch up. And sometimes those statements are completely reasonable. But then reality arrives. 6 months later, the excitement has faded. The mortgage payments feel real. The commute feels very real. Repairs are real and the compromises feel real. The goal is not to avoid every compromise. However, the goal is to make an offer that still feels good after the emotional peak has passed. It's easy to get caught up in a bidding war when you think that there's only one house that works. But often that belief starts with a mistake, becoming convinced there's only one neighborhood that works. One of the most expensive things that a Northern Virginia buyer can do is to become rigid about a neighborhood before understanding why they truly want to live there. This doesn't mean that every neighborhood is interchangeable. McLean is not Vienna, Old Town isn't Del Rey, and North Arlington is not Falls Church. But different neighborhoods can solve similar lifestyle problems. These are not perfect substitutes. They're conversation starters. They help you ask a better question. What am I really trying to buy? McLean can offer excellent access to Tysons, major commuter routes, attractive neighborhoods, strong name recognition, and very substantial homes. But not every buyer who says that they need McLean actually needs McLean. Some buyers want proximity to Tysons. Some want a larger lot. Some want prestige. Those goals may lead to very different alternatives. For example, Vienna may offer a strong community identity, access to the W&OD trail, a charming downtown, and a wider range of housing options. And Oakton may offer larger lots, more space, while remaining relatively close to Tysons and to Vienna. Great Falls may appeal to a buyer prioritizing privacy, land, and a more estate-like feel. The correct alternative depends on the real objective. Now consider North Arlington. A buyer may say, we want North Arlington, but what does that mean? Do they want metro access, walkability, a short commute, a detached home? Do they want a neighborhood with restaurants and community activity? Do they want to be near parks and trails? Different parts of Arlington deliver very different experiences. Falls Church can sometimes provide a similar commute with different housing stock and different trade-offs. The goal is not to talk yourself out of North Arlington. The goal is to understand whether you're paying for the feature that you actually value, or if you're simply paying for the name. These are highly desirable locations, but desirability can create a prestige premium. Sometimes buyers are paying for the home. Sometimes they're paying for convenience. Sometimes they're paying for schools. Sometimes they're paying for walkability, shorter commute, and sometimes they're paying for the name. There's nothing inherently wrong with paying a premium. The mistake is paying it without recognizing it. Imagine a buyer who wants Vienna, not Oakton, not Dunloring, not Fairfax, just Vienna. They love the downtown feel. They want access to the trail. The buyer likes the community identity. Those are all legitimate preferences. But once every substitute disappears from consideration, pricing discipline becomes harder to maintain. When only one outcome feels acceptable, sellers gain leverage and buyers become vulnerable to overpaying. Now, this may be the most subtle warning sign. Many buyers think that they're buying a property. Often they're also buying relief. They're buying a feeling and buying a story about what life will become after closing. A home purchase should not feel like a spreadsheet exercise, but it also shouldn't become an emotional rescue mission. Maybe you've spent years in a small townhouse and you're tired of sharing walls, limited storage. You want a basement. You want a home office. You want a backyard. And then you walk into a house in Burke, Springfield, Fairfax Station with multiple levels, a garage, finished basement, and a yard. The reaction can be powerful. The emotions say, this solves everything. Maybe it solves a lot, but relief can cause buyers to overlook the commute, the maintenance, obligations, renovation costs, or location compromises. Sometimes the house represents success. A buyer reaches a certain point in their career and feels like they should own a home in McLean, or Vienna, or North Arlington, or Falls Church City, or Old Town Alexandria. The property becomes more than a home. It becomes a statement. There's nothing wrong with wanting a beautiful home in a respected neighborhood. However, if status becomes part of the purchase decision, you need to recognize it. Otherwise, you may be paying a premium without understanding why you're paying it. Fear may be the most expensive emotion of all. Fear that prices will keep rising. Fear that inventory will disappear. Fear that interest rates will change. Fear that your children won't get into the right school. Fear that another buyer will take the house, and fear that you'll regret walking away. Fear changes behavior. Budgets expand, contingencies disappear, risk tolerance rises. And suddenly buyers are doing things they never intended to do when the search began. The solution is not to become robotic. You should feel excited about the home you're purchasing. You should imagine your life there. You should care about the neighborhood. But after the emotional reaction, come back to the evidence. Ask, does the payment still work? Do the comparable sales support the price? Are the compromises acceptable? Would we still want this house if there were no competing offers? Whenever I hear buyers say, we'll never move, my radar goes up immediately. Not because they're being dishonest. They may sincerely believe it, but life changes, jobs change, families change, relationships change, retirement plans evolve. A home that feels permanent today may become a listing 10 years from now. Sometimes, in my experience, much sooner. Once buyers convince themselves that they'll never sell, they may stop asking some important questions. Is the home on a busy road? Does it back to power lines? Is there persistent traffic noise? Is parking difficult? Is the layout awkward? These issues don't automatically mean that you should walk away. Every house has compromises, but you should recognize which compromises may shrink your future buyer pool. The point isn't to reject every imperfect property. The point is to know what you're getting into and buy with your eyes open. Now, some people assume that emotional overpaying only happens with first-time buyers who've never been through this process, but that's not true. The same psychology appears at higher price points. A luxury McLean buyer may start thinking, this is the trophy property. This is the one everybody wants. We'll never find another one like it. The home is larger, the numbers are larger, but the pressure is familiar. Different budget, same psychology. Different price, same trap. Before you write your final offer, slow the process down and ask some questions. Is the condition similar? Are the comparable sales recent? Were there seller concessions or incentives? Does the property have some resale challenges? Can we comfortably afford the payment? Would we still make this offer if there was no competition? Would we still make this offer if nobody else wanted the house? That last question is often the most revealing. If the price only feels acceptable when you imagine someone else getting the house, you may not be evaluating the property anymore. You may be reacting to competition. Buyers who overpay in Northern Virginia usually aren't reckless. They're often smart, successful, thoughtful people. They're trying to make a good decision in a stressful environment. But somewhere along the way, they stop being objective. They become emotionally attached to one house. They allow competition to move their budget. They convince themselves only one neighborhood will work. The buyers who avoid overpaying aren't necessarily the buyers who know the market best. They're the buyers who recognize when their emotions are starting to drive the process. And in Northern Virginia, where bidding wars can create enormous stress, that awareness may be worth more than any negotiating tactic. Don't make an offer that only feels good at the top of the curve. Make an offer that still feels good 6 months after closing, a year after closing, because the goal isn't to win the bidding war. The goal is to make a smart move and a smart purchase. Understanding trade-offs between neighborhoods and lifestyles before you start touring homes may save you from chasing a property that was never the right fit to begin with. Avoiding overpayment doesn't mean becoming passive. It means competing strategically. If you're thinking about buying or selling in Northern Virginia and you want a clear, honest conversation about your options, my contact information is below. Subscribe to my channel for more neighborhood comparisons, market strategy, and the practical advice that will help you make a smarter move. I'll see you in the next video.